Welcome to thakTECH.gaming. We're taking a look at Gwent. It's a new card game, new card game program based on a card game that was developed for Witcher 3, and fantastic game, Witcher 3. If you haven't played it, you should. But Gwent was a very cool sub-game inside of the game, and it was easily one of the best mini games I've ever played in a game, and I had a great time playing through various things in that game. However, the cards that I have available now, significantly not the same ones that I had before, but there is this is kind of like a Hearthstone or Soulforge or in any of those Legends or whatever. You have a list of all these cards, and you have the different factions that have the different card sets, and you can have neutral cards obviously can be used in any decks, but then some of them obviously are different in the sense that you can only use them within a monster deck. So like you can't use monsters and Northern Realms, for example. There are different flavors. You have the leaders. These are the different leaders for each of the different groups or whatever. You get one leader for each faction, and then gold cards are cards that are super powerful, and they have really cool abilities and whatnot, but they a lot of the effects that you can use don't apply to gold characters. Silver is they're kind of mid-tier. They're pretty cool. Like this one has got 10 power, which is crazy high, but there's no abilities or anything for it. And then bronze are kind of your normal everyday cards, and they have obviously abilities and whatnot. Like this one is a fireball trap, and the Scoia'tael have a lot more like kind of sneaky stuff. You'll notice that a bunch of them have this little arrow, which means you can put them anywhere you want, which is very different from the other, like Northern Realms. Everything is going to be, I shouldn't say everything, but most things are going to be siege or ranged and very few of them are support type that you can put anywhere. Where Scoia'tael is very much, you can put things everywhere you want, anywhere you want. Okay, so again, like a lot of these are abilities, and a lot of them then, like this is an ability, but you also have units. So this ability has a special thing that kicks off whenever the non-gold unit. Notice in the lower right-hand corner, and unfortunately I can't point to it down there. Whenever a non-gold unit appears, and then choose a non-gold unit on your opponent's side and remove 5 strength. So you can see that the gold units are just kind of there. They're powerful, and they are able to be more defensive, kind of, but at the same time you can't buff them either. And so there's a lot of them. I want to say like Skellige has a lot of stuff that's like, let's see, choose 3 non-gold units on the battlefield and remove 1 strength from each. Is one that's kind of like you just kind of plinking away at the enemy. And here's one where it's whenever a unit on your side of the battlefield is destroyed or you discard, remove 2 strength from a random non-gold. So again, the non-gold aren't affected by a ton of these. Almost every one of these that talks about affecting a card, it's going to say choose a non-gold unit or whatever. So, and some of them, I think it was when I was looking through Northern Realms, I think it has some where it's a delay. There's a delay on it. Let's see, where's it at? Seems like it was, yeah, right here. Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry. After 2 turns, convert to gold. So there's a lot of these that have these abilities where, like, for example, and I believe I think it's Northern Realms has an ability that says everything that's gold gets an extra 2 attack. So that means is after 2 turns, this one turns into a 6, which is obviously more powerful. Not only that, if you have any other buffs, like some of these other buffs, let's see, add 4 strength to 1 friendly non-gold unit. If you play this and then you play this the next turn, you could add the 4 strength, and then so it would turn to 8, and then it would turn to gold, so it would go to 10, and it would be gold, so it couldn't be affected. So there's a lot of really interesting kind of combos that you can do with the way that these cards are set up, and they play very, very differently. The factions do. Skellige has a lot of like berserker style stuff where you're removing 2 strength from guys when they come on the battlefield. This one is saying that, you know, if you hit him and you don't kill him, then he turns into a bear, so he heals, and the bears are just brutal. Um, this one is the Savage Bear is incredible because you put this on the board first. I played a guy yesterday that did this. You play this first, and then every single unit that comes on, you remove 1 strength from, which means that you play this guy after you play this bear, and you immediately turn this into a bear. So it's incredibly interesting how all these things are set up. Um, Choose a non-gold unit on the battlefield and remove 3 strength from it. This you can actually combo with some of the other units. Like in this case, if you did the 3, obviously it would kill him, but then some of these other people, it's a little bit different. So you could actually kill him, and then with, like, let's say he takes a little bit of damage, you can kill your own guy. This guy goes into the graveyard as a bear, and the next turn you can play this character, the Priestess of Freya, to then pull that thing out of the graveyard and play it. So it's the combos are just are insane. So it very much is different depending on which class of character you use. And then as far as and this is again all factions, there are weather effects that exist. So you can have impenetrable fog, obviously, sets the strength of all non-gold units on both ranged rows to 1. So this affects you and your opponent. But if, for example, you're playing as monsters, there's not a ton of ranged and siege. Most everything's melee. So if you have the fog, and actually there's foglets in the monsters decks that are actually boosted by fog. So having fog in your monster decks makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't necessarily want Biting Frost, because Biting Frost sets everything on melee to 1. So you wouldn't want to do that. This is actually bugged, which is kind of crappy. This is supposed to be against the siege units, but it's set the strength of non-gold units on both melee rows to 1. So that's a text error. This is actually affects your siege units, not your melee units. This is for melee units. So there's a lot of these kinds of things that are very interesting in terms of the combinations that you end up with. So anyway, I just thought it would be nice to give at least some level of overview of the cards and the collections. I'll be playing through a bunch of these different factions just to see kind of how it goes. And anyway, that's the kind of the card overview. And in another episode, we'll be looking at the shop and seeing kind of how that works. And then we'll also again get into each of the individual factions and go from there. But that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching.